In a world where sales talk is watered down, generalized, and frankly boring, we're breaking down the doors and bringing back the hustle and flow to sales, where mindset isn't just a word, it's an art, it's a way of life. We're deep diving into the mindset of sales strategies, techniques, and approaches, giving you the insight and motivation to close more deals more often. Whether you're a business owner, seasoned veteran, or a rookie just getting your feet wet in sales, this podcast is for you. We are industry leaders and sales disruptors. Join us as we unlock the secrets of a successful sales mindset. Get ready to take notes and crush your goals, because here, every conversation is a masterclass. Welcome to the Sales Mindset Podcast. And to get even more in-depth information, please visit www.thesalesmindcoach.com. Enjoy the podcast and keep on selling. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Mindset Podcast, formerly the Closers Mindset Podcast. We've expanded our mindset and wanted to include more stuff involved. And we have a special guest on today, Chris Slomka. Got that right, correct?
You did. That was a great. That was great. You did it perfectly.
I tried. So Chris is a really good friend of mine and also in the industry as well. And I'm going to let actually Chris introduce himself and kind of what he does. And then we'll kind of start asking questions about your journey and things that you have done. And first and foremost, before I have you do that, I just want to thank you for being on the show. We're real excited to have you. And I think the audience is going to get a lot out of this and your perspective on how businesses run in sales and what you do for even the home improvement business, because most people listen to this are in that industry. So, Chris, please share a little bit about yourself and where you came from and what you're doing now.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a great intro. Thank you. Can I carry you around wherever I go for that kind of introduction? That's awesome.
Always.
Like I said, like Jesse said, I'm Chris. I live in the Cleveland area, a little suburb called Rocky River. And I've been in advertising marketing space now for, it's about 20, a little over 20 years. And I got into it kind of by mistake. I was in the military when I got out. I was Navy, but when I got out, I was unsure of what I wanted to do. And I got into sales because it was just a natural fit for my personality. And I was managing a satellite company. We sold Dish Network and DirecTV. So back in early 2000s, if you can think back then, when satellite was really cool and this new technology, I worked for a guy who put me in office, put me in charge of the sales team. And one day, he's like, hey, why don't you just buy some advertising? You have a great personality. I have the guy coming out here. And so I did. I waited for the guy. I had no idea what I was doing. But when the guy showed up, he was from one of those coupon books. He was driving like a BMW. He was dressed nice. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? I got to have this guy's job. So, that's what really turned me on to advertising. I saw opportunity and I knew the checks that we were writing this gentleman. So I started kind of diving into looking around for what advertising was and started asking questions to other people. And I jumped in head first. I left that job, went into the newspaper. I actually started off in newspapers and wiggled my way around to now 20 some years later, I'm in the direct mail space. And that's what I do full time. So I work for a company and we are an agency and direct mail house. We're able to facilitate pieces and quantities from 1,000 pieces to 20 million per day. So it's an industry I love. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's a lot. That's a lot of bail, dude.
There's a lot of you believe it or not, there are people that do print that much.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So that really answers kind of the second question of what inspired you to focus on direct mail. So you kind of saw that and you stayed with this. You've been in this industry for in the direct mail for how long now?
Print about 20 years, direct mail about 10, 11 years of that. And, when I say print, it was newspaper and some other print ventures. What got me into direct mail, though, specifically was the money opportunity, but I like print. I love what it does. I love how it arrives in the mailbox, so I'm a little bit biased because I did get started in that space. But I ventured off into solo direct mail and really targeted direct mail about 10 years ago because I saw what it did. My clients were buying print from me in the newspaper world when I was there, but then I also saw the money they were spending with me, they were spending, you know, a lot more money in direct mail because it was driving much better results. And so I thought I got to get into that.
Makes sense.
And yeah. So that's what led me to it, man. It was money and hunger and thirst.
Nice. Well, that's going to lead. That goes all along with the mindset. Now, the
Yeah.
last question to kind of open things up is, and we've had discussions about this, but I'd love you to share with the audience because your direct mail space is a little bit different than most. And how does your business differentiate than most of these other direct mail spaces out there?
Yeah. Oh, great question. Great question. Yeah. A lot of the direct mail has evolved. I mean, it's really evolved from where it was, hey, you're in a business, and you want to target people in X zip code and you just want to mail out to this carrier routes and you're going to hit every household and that's it, and you might be able to switch the messaging a little bit, maybe make it variable, but that really was it. You could buy survey data. You could start getting creative with mailing against, say, third-party survey data, or maybe some offline data that guided your targeting or the audience you want to reach. But geez, 10 years ago or so, when I got into actual direct mail, technology was changing, and it was changing fast, and it still is. It changes daily. And I landed at the company I'm at, the Weiland Group, because they have married the online consumer signals, online, what you do online, where you're driving, what you're shopping for. We've married that with the ability to deliver offline messaging. So everything you do on your computer, on your phone, where you drive, where you shop, where you spend money on your debit card, credit card, etc., where you get a loan at, anything, any behavior you do, we're able to tie that back to where you live, who you are, and we're able to customize a message and have it sent to you based on all of your behaviors or what you're in market for. And it's kind of crazy to be able to do that nowadays, because 10 years ago it was kind of pie in the sky stuff. But with the advent of technology and AI, we're able to streamline these workflow processes. So, to give you a real world example, if you, Jesse, were outside one day or walking into a bank and you want to get a loan, but you walk in, you might not like the terms and you leave. Well, when you apply for that loan, that goes into the cloud. We all like the cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
That cloud, that software, we are able to ingest your intent. And, from there, we can market to you a multitude of ways. But with direct mail, we would be able to match that signal, that intent signal, to an address, find out who you are. And if we have a customer who wants to reach somebody who's in market for a loan, well, we have that data. It's real time, and we can send you a message the very next day. So it's pretty incredible.
That is pretty incredible. And I'm going to add a little bit also. What I thought was really cool about your company is the fact that you will not do business with a competitor once you signed up with an individual in that realm.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
that
Good
was
call. Yeah.
respectful, and hats off to your company for taking that initiative to keep it fair for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Well, that's a big part of it. I don't know how companies can do that when you're, we're a medium-sized business. So out there, there's billion-dollar companies, and we're the size of our company. We're small to medium. We're on the higher end of being small to medium, to right on the cusp of being larger. But we're family owned and operated. And yeah, man, I love that mindset as well, where, hey, you have one of our clients, is X telecommunications company, and they spend a lot of money with us. We spent a great deal of resources. They spent a great deal of resources and time to strategize and come up with the right campaign. And we just don't feel it right to where in those markets to have a competitor and have all that knowledge
Like DirecTV.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Right. Or Comcast or any one of those, right? That would be a real
That's
slap in the
right.
face when you're, putting the onset for this
You
company
got
and
it.
this individual, and you're
You got it.
developing that relationship. And keeping them feeling comfortable with you and your business as well. So
Sure.
let's see what. Why is direct marketing? I know this. Why is it still a really powerful tool to use in the home improvement business and industry?
Wow, that's a great question too. Home improvement business. Well, I like to answer that kind of this way when somebody asks me that, because if you think about it, in the home improvement business, people are improving their home, right?
Correct.
It's their house. Okay. They live in it. They want to improve it. Why not send a message to their house? It's like, hey, people check their mailboxes daily. So homeowners they're creatures of habit. They check their mailbox. If not daily, it's 4 or 5 times a week, but most do check it daily. Um, and when they're in market to buy something such as home improvement, um, out there shopping. So maybe they're going to Home Depot, or maybe they're calling contractors, or going to different websites and searching what can help them, what they can purchase. And if they want to remodel their home, if you send them a message to their house and it's tangible and it's relevant and it fits exactly what they're looking for, or you're hitting them at that right time and it's at the house, well, that message that's in their mailbox that you sent will stay in that home typically 3 to 5 days, if not longer, sometimes up to 7 to 10 days. So a postcard, or a nice letter with a nice message with your brochure, whatever that might be, that gets passed around the house. It gets passed to the husband. It gets passed to the wife. The kids might look at it, briefly, and it has a lot of, it's tangible, and it um, has a lot of recall. And that's exactly why it works so well, because we're using data, number one, to identify the right household. And number two, it's just got a long shelf life and it's tangible.
I
So
didn't think
those are
about the
really, yeah.
shelf life. That's something that it didn't even
Yeah.
occur to me, because the subliminal messaging with there of having that and seeing that daily, without, because yeah, I've plenty of ads that I just set to the side, but I see it every day, and sometimes I've went back and picked it back up, right,
Oh,
uh,
right.
and brushed through it, or I put it to the side planning to get rid of it, and then I decide, because I had nothing to do, to browse through it or something catch my eye. That's a really interesting. I never thought about that,
And
and it's so
yeah, and
true.
yeah, and on the flip side, there are people that will get that piece of direct mail and throw it away, right? And
Mm.
so that's why targeting now is so important, because even with pinpoint targeting and utilizing real customer data that's out there, identifying those who are in market, there's times where they may not be ready, even though the behaviors may show that. So yeah, some of that's going to get tossed right away. But the idea is that enough doesn't. So
But even
maybe
if they're
half.
tossing it, it stays there before it goes, right? Because
Yeah,
typically people don't throw it, they
absolutely.
usually recycle, so they put it to the side before they stack it up, and it's sitting right there, and they get to see it every. I love it. I never even looked at that aspect of it. And being in the business, I've always loved direct mail pieces, because a direct mail piece may not be the initial piece that they saw you on. They may have seen you
Right.
in 4 or 5 different of the others, but they call in a direct mail piece because it's actually in their hand. It's almost like a reminder sometimes, like, oh shit, I've been meaning to call them. Perfect. I'm glad I got it in my hand. And now
I
they have the information. That's kind of where direct mail does help them as well, because we are creatures of habit, and if you can make it easy for somebody, ooh.
I have on my refrigerator right now, held by a magnet, my local 1 hour dry cleaner around the corner. Okay, there's the offers that are on there have been expired for about a year. The reason I have it on there is because when I do travel, I do like to be simple. I'll drop off some clothes I'll just go up to the cleaner. And there's no reason other than my mind told me, you know what, they're the best cleaners, just always go there. And I put it on my refrigerator. I haven't taken it down. My friends come over. My buddy was over a couple weeks ago. He's grabbing a beer and he was making fun of me about it. And it started a conversation. I said, hey, you should go check out this dry cleaners, because I shared an experience I had. It was positive. And, he told me, it was some days later, he goes, gosh, I went in there and you're right. They had my stuff done in an hour. I couldn't believe it. So it's funny how it also sparks conversations where, other media, I'm not going to downgrade other media. They all work together, but a lot of the media out there is just that short lived, very, flash in the pan where boom, It's an instant message, but then it dissipates. So it has to be frequent. And direct mail is around for the, instead of the sprint, it's around for the marathon.
I love it. So I had a very personal relationship with my dry cleaner too. I drive 45 minutes to drop my dry cleaning off.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Tried a couple places here in Northridge. Well, maybe not 40. Maybe it's 35 to 40, but it was over in Brunswick, and where we used to live. And we tried a couple places. They weren't the same. They didn't care. They didn't have the love for it. And I mean, it's to the point when we were leaving, the lady cried and gave a hug. We knew the owner, the father. He had passed. I was good friends with him, and it was that same thing. It was the service and relationship. It came to a point where it wasn't even about the money. It was about how they cared about my clothing and how they cared about me and my family, and those things mean something too, and developing relationships with business as well. And I'm sure you have those. So I'm gonna lead me into a success story, and I know you have a ton of them, but one that sticks out for you that where your direct mail and services kind of significantly impacted a business.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because you get a lot of success, in direct mail. And the one thing that I worked on, this was maybe 2 years ago. It's kind of a story that sticks out, but I was working with a large home improvement large retailer in the home improvement space, and I was working for a company in charge of their business development, and so this company I'm calling on, they have 5,000 plus locations across the U.S. They're big. And when I was doing some research, and I found out that they had a abnormally high website abandonment rate, which is common for every business because, Jesse, you look at your own behavior. If you go to a website, chances are you're not going to buy anything. You're getting research, or you're scrolling videos, or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Amazon, you may scroll and save it for later, but consumer behavior says, hey, I might buy out of every 100 websites I go to, I might make one purchase. I mean, it's very, very low. So webmasters and marketers are always trying to figure out, how can I get people to buy more frequent? How can I get them to check out on the spot versus save it? And so this retailer, they had an abnormally high abandonment rate. Folks were going on their homepage and they were abandoning it. They weren't even going through the checkout process. They were, and they were uneasy about it. And it was the topic of Monday's phone call with their leadership. So when I met with them, I said, hey, listen, we looked at their website traffic. We found out it was, it's extremely high. It was, 90 million hits a month, which is abnormally high. But we were able to identify, we took down and we broke down, we put their website into silos, we categorized all their products, and we started noticing there was a trend based on where people were searching and what products they were looking at. And this is all technology. This is all by putting a pixel on their website. We were able to identify where some of the drop-off was happening, and we were able to work with their home department, windows and doors and that type of stuff, where they have professional installers. We were able to identify exactly what products were being left in the checkout, what products were not being left out. We put a pixel on the page, and we started sending direct mail to people who, made a certain amount of money. When the person came and left the website, we were able to match their device ID they were on the website with back to an address, which could tell us then what their demographics were, what their annual household income, where else they were shopping. We were able to identify all that, and we were able to reduce their cart abandonment on these, the professional installer side by about 50%. So that was a really good, nut for us. And then we were able to drive sales. I mean, the ROI on this, I don't know if it was measurable, but it was something like 5,000%. It was ridiculous. So we used direct mail because once we identified them, we sent them a relevant postcard in the mail the very next day after they abandoned the website. That's how we did it. So yeah, it was really, really a great success story. They ended up spending, this brand, they tested us. I mean, it was minimal spend. They spent, I think, 25,000. And like I said, their sales, their sales, when I left the organization, they were still running, but that test drove over $500,000 in gross sales.
Wow. That's amazing.
25,000.
That's
$25,000. I know.
quite a investment.
I
It's like
know.
buying Bitcoin a month ago.
That's a little too volatile for me. That's probably a whole nother show. But yes,
Oh
I
gosh,
hear
it
you.
is. Yeah, I feel it's gonna
Yeah.
go crash and burning, but it is a whole nother show. Um, so you answered two questions again. Because I was
Oh,
gonna ask
sorry
you about
about that.
digital marketing. No, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But the next one I feel is so important, and I'm gonna kind of ad lib a little bit into this because I was a rep and ran appointments that were from direct mail.
Hmm.
And also, I have managed reps that have run appointments direct mail, and direct mail is always known as a higher opportunity for the most part.
Sure.
There are still some
Sure.
people that didn't have the right mindset for it going into it sometimes, because they would say, "Oh, this is going to be a shopper, this, that, or the other." I always looked at it. If you had a direct mail piece, they're interested big time. Like
Right.
there's major, like that's fire right there. You better do what the best, like obviously every appointment give your best, but that one there's major interest. It's not like we came to them, they came to us. So my question will be, how important is it for mindset when developing a successful direct mail campaign, both for the business owner and then, lingering it down to the sales team?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, for the business owner, so in your question, are you asking the business owner of the business, right?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I think there's a couple ways to answer. I'll just kind of be a little vague at first, but a lot of folks, a lot of people out there don't use direct mail. So there's people who are just getting into it, and there are people who use it all the time. So I'm just kind of going to just throw this out there, like a generic, it's not a generic answer, but a generic situation. And I'll say, if somebody's looking to get into direct mail and what mindset they have to be, I think the mindset is you have to understand your goals, and that's really with any marketing, but what is it that you want, say, the direct mail to do for you? Because this is real. I mean, I get this a lot where somebody, direct mail, you have to pay postage, and you have to have this tangible piece of paper, and you have to have creative. So there's um a little bit of work behind it, which is we do, my company does all of it. But sometimes marketers think that way. They're like, geez, I got to overcome these obstacles. But once you're past that, I think you have to realize, what do you want it to do? If you want to spend $100 to get $50,000 in sales, that's a little unreal. That's not going to happen in most cases, right? Um, so you have to identify what it is that you want to do. If you want to reach, do you want to drive new traffic? Do you want to sell new product? Whatever that is, I think the mindset is, okay, we're going to test this channel, and we're not going to just dip our toe into it. We're going to test it, but we don't want to hold it to the fire, right? Like with digital marketing, I think the universal acceptance is that if an email or a digital ad doesn't work, all right, great, let's rinse and let's do another. And in direct mail, we're held to the fire. Hey, it didn't work. Okay, well, the whole channel doesn't work. That's not the case. It's the message, it's the offer, it's the audience. Who are you targeting? Were they the right audience? And so when you partner with a company that's been doing it a long time, or that has that experience, they'll guide you. And that's exactly why you should work with a reputable company that can say, okay, great example, Jesse. I'm working with a client right now. They're in the auto aftermarket world for vehicle maintenance, and they wanted to do an offer that was there was no acquisition offers. So they do oil changes. So they wanted to drive traffic in with it was a free engine check. A free engine check. Would that make you go get an oil change?
No.
No, it wouldn't, would it?
Nope.
No, heck no, it wouldn't. Right. So it's like a free engine check. Okay, I need an oil change. I'm not going to come there for a free engine check. And they were like, well, we don't want to give away oil changes. Okay, well, then you're not ready to do direct mail. You're not ready to grow your business. So I think that talking to somebody and just kind of working through that, you have to give away a little bit to acquire new customers. And then you have to also carefully use that thinking to maintain them and turn them into loyal customers.
Yeah, make it a free filter.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Or $10, if it's if they're, yeah, $10 off, $20 off your oil change. That's, knowing what your competitor are doing. We do that a lot for our clients too. A good reputable firm, will tell you, hey, we'll do some research for you. And we use AI, we do competitive analysis, and we'll tell them, hey, this market, you're offering this while your competitors are doing something twice as good. So you may not get what the return you're gonna want. So, all those kind of go hand in hand. But I think that's with anything, right? It's with digital,
Hmm.
it's with,
It
yeah,
is.
it's
And it's really good that you mentioned that about the mindset and kind of what expectations they have for a business owner. It was good stuff. Thank you. Now
yeah,
let's flip to the sales rep
sure,
and their
sure,
mindset and what's important
sure.
for them, because you've been in front of a ton of them and you're in essence a sales
Yeah,
rep yourself. So what
yeah.
was your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So for a sales rep, so let's say in your example, there's a sales rep who is working for a home improvement industry or company, right? So that sales rep now knows that, hey, my boss put out a bunch of direct mail. He targeted the right audience. Um, Phones are going to be ringing. And I think with that, that means that if you're getting calls, if that sales rep is getting appointments driven by direct mail, these people are serious. I mean, they've walked, the piece of mail went into their house. Chances are it was something they were doing, whether it was a website visit or a show they went to or whatever that behavior is, drove that direct mail to reach their house. So, in my opinion, the sales rep, hey, you're walking into that appointment knowing that your chances of closing, I don't want to put a percentage on it, but it's a little higher already
It
just
is.
because they've got a piece of something in their hand. They're ready to go and they called you or they went online, they scanned the QR code, whatever that is, right? And you probably know it better than me because you were in that space selling. So,
If you're not
did
closing direct mail at a high rate, you're either not marketing it properly or
there
your
you go.
reps aren't closing it properly. One of the things also, Chris, that I just thought of that is important to really adapt to the mindset for a sales rep is understand that typically in those neighborhoods, whatever house you're going to, the neighbors are all of the same demographic and age group. Not, sometimes a little different, but not much. Incomes are around the same as well, and every single house got that same mailer typically in that little
Hmm.
area. So it would behoove you to really hit those same houses up at the same time. You could even put, say, hey, did you get the mailer we just sent out, and use that, or even use the people you visited as a opportunity to talk to their neighbors.
Home improvement, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, neighborhoods are are built, generally speaking, and you know this, but generally built, same time, same builder. The most of the A lot of the components inside the house are the same. So yeah, they're breaking down. That roof is going to probably deteriorate at the exact same time as the neighbors did if they're built the same year. So absolutely, you're going to have that for you. Um, the thing I like to tell people, or even just say to people, is it's not that direct mail is better by any means. It's engaging. I mean, for me, I'm biased, but it's engaging and it can help complement other media channels. But what I like to ask people is this: when if you're a business owner and you take shortcuts and only send digital mail, email, and digital correspondence and digital advertising, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're just limiting yourself to you're missing an opportunity. And the one thing I say is, Jesse, you're a married guy. I don't know. Did you have a wedding? Did you get married in a church or did you have a wedding?
We had a wedding, got married in a church.
You got married in a church. Okay. How did you invite people to your wedding?
Of course, we used the mail invitations.
You used invitations, right?
Yep.
And when I ask that question, sometimes I put my foot in mouth because it's 80% of the time it's the same answer. Yeah, yeah, it's that. But I ask him, I'll say with a follow up question is, well, why didn't you just email everybody or why didn't you just put it on Facebook? And I just let them answer, and it's like, well, they wouldn't have they wouldn't have come. Okay, so why are you relying on digital messaging to get new customers only?
Hmm.
Treat them like the people you want at your wedding. Invite them. Be courteous. You know what I'm saying?
It's a mindset shift.
It's a mindset shift. It's treating people how you want. How do you want to invite people to your store? You want to send out 1,000 emails a day, hoping that maybe one person opens it. Great, you should do that. But on top of that, complement that with direct mail and some digital and some SEO and some
TV
field
and
cams
yeah,
and TV and
you have
radio.
to do
Right.
it. So you have to do it in these different buckets and different channels or categories or however what company or business owner wants to call them. But direct mail is a very important part of that, and direct mail is going to be a big part in the future as well as people get more bogged down with the onset of social media ads and our privacy being taken and us shutting down that and getting less ads because of it, I truly believe direct mail is going to take a little bit of a height as a pickup into it. Just the way I see
We
things
we
going.
well, we've seen that. You're actually spot on. I mean, with technology, the way technology is now and what we're doing now, we're able to send direct mail. Our data, we actually have an advantage now over email and digital. And what I mean by that is, with all the privacy laws out there are states that where digital media and email, you're not allowed to use anonymous consumer data to identify who they are and send them an email. You're not allowed to do that. The privacy laws have restricted that.
Mm-hmm.
So in direct mail, we can go around that in many instances because we're not identifying the person. We're just identifying the household. We're saying, okay, this household had this behavior, or this household was in market for a loan. And we can do that. And we 100% follow all privacy laws, all compliance laws. And with the advent of AI, I mean, we are using AI where we're, a great example would be someone like a Wayfair.com, where they might have, they have millions of products. So Wayfair might have 10,000 pieces of creative with us, 10,000 versions. So when somebody goes to Wayfair.com and doesn't buy anything, we can retarget them based on what they were looking at, when they were looking at it, their demographics. And AI helps us identify what creative to use. We can print the creative and piece minutes after they left the website, and it's off our machines that night, and we're mailing it first thing in the morning. It's arriving either that same day or the next day.
And it's one of those 10,000 different
Yes.
advertisements that's specifically designed for them.
Yes.
It's insane.
Yes.
That's insane.
Or I think we mentioned this earlier, you and I, last time we were talking, where you have a brick and mortar stick. You're let's say you're a mom and pop a hardware store, right? And you're competing with all the big. You're competing with Home Depot and Lowe's. You're also competing with Ace. You have Walmart. You have Meijer. Well, your ad budget might not be huge. Okay, great, but you still want to be effective. So the way technology is now, we can set a digital geofence around all your competitors. So when consumers are walking into your competitor, we can extract information from their mobile device to identify who they are, or where they live. I mean, not who they are, but where they live. And now we can say, okay, people at 1234 Maple Avenue were walking into Lowe's or Home Depot. And we can even get grainier. We can say, set the digital geofence around the home, around the window aisle, or around the counter aisle. Great. So now they're in Home Depot. They're at the window aisle. You're a small hardware store. You can pay to do that now. There are vendors out there where you can actually pay to do that. So once they go through that digital geofence, this consumer who's in market, we match it back to their address, and we can actually kick back a piece of direct mail the next day to their house with the creative of, hey, was it a window they were looking at? What's the demographics of the neighborhood or their household? We can feature that on the piece, and it's all done that night. AI is helping us choose that creative, print it, and mail it the very next day. It's crazy.
Well, all I gotta say is, if you're a sales rep working for a company and you got Chris's company putting mailers out for you, you are in a great spot. That's kick ass. That really is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and there's others doing it too. I mean, obviously I'm biased for my company. But there are others out there, and so I always tell people, like, if there's questions, or you just want to talk shop of what's out there, it's changing. What's out there today will actually be magnified 10 times by tomorrow, right? I mean, we talked, AI is the same way.
AI is changing so much. Look what ChatGPT does now that it didn't do a year ago. It's amazing on the advancements, and it's only going to get more and more advanced, and we're going to be able to they're already retargeting. I mean, how many times have we had a conversation, and that's for anybody that's listening now, you had the conversation, right? And then you get the ads on Facebook or whatever social media site you're on, because they're all listening to you, because in order to have that app, you're going to have to let them listen, and they retarget you on those. All these companies are doing it, and we've signed up for it knowingly or unknowingly, and it's just the way of our world. And
You're absolutely right. And to piggyback off that, AI. So the rule of thumb is right now, AI today, tomorrow when you wake up, literally it will be 10 to 15 times smarter than it was today. And it's doing that daily. That's scary, right? It's scary and cool, but it's still scary. So yes, when you're hearing those audio messages, when you're like, wow, this random thing popped up on my phone. I was talking about it with my friend. I mean, people are in the dark a little bit about that, saying, I don't know how it happened. Well, with the advancements of AI, it's easy to do things like that now. So, um, but the last thing I'll say about that though is consumer reception is actually higher with targeted messaging. People like to receive messages when they're looking for something. They don't want junk messages. So if it's a message they're welcoming, yes, we're all inundated. But when it's something that's relevant, like in the mailbox, I mean, we survey folks, we find out it's a positive response.
That's awesome. So here's I'm going to flip it up a little bit. How about mistakes? What are common mistakes that businesses make with direct mail campaigns, and how can they avoid them?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's it's a little easier too to talk about the mistakes because they're usually common. But I mean, I think one of the biggest ones is identifying your purpose, right? What's the purpose of it? And, for any marketing, but specifically direct mail here in this example, are you doing acquisition or are you doing retention? Okay, I want to do acquisition. Okay, great. So what audience do you want to reach? And you'd be surprised when I talk to some marketers who are at high level brands. Most of them are great, but every once in a while it's who do you want to target? Who are we? I want to target everybody, but that's not the right answer. You're going to go broke doing that. So who do you want to target? And then what's the data to support that? What kind of consumer data are you using? Are you using your CRM data? Are you using any sort of credit data? Are you using any sort of website browse intent data? What data are you using to identify who you want to target? And the biggest mistake people will do is they will use direct mail to target everybody in a zip code. And, unless you're Amazon or Wayfair, where everybody is shopping on your website, it's really not the right move. Being targeted, handpicking the areas you want to target, or the households you want to target, and then and then giving them a reason, right? Don't send somebody a piece of direct mail that you paid money for that says, "Hey, I'm Jesse. I have a podcast. I'll see you later." It's like, "Hey, I'm Jesse. Come to my podcast." Let's pretend you charge $100 a year, Jesse. Congratulations, you're now making money. But for this direct mail piece, we're going to offer it to you for $20 off your first year, or whatever that is. You have to give the offer. You have to make sure that it's something that doesn't break the bank, but it drives trial. And without that, we hear it all the time. I mean, it's less and less now with technology. Technology is helping us avoid these mishaps. But I used to hear all the time, man, gosh, Chris, I did, it just didn't work. Well, why didn't it work? Well, I targeted this person or I targeted this area. Really being targeted, thoughtful, and the right messaging. So I
That
think
that's
those,
that's huge, and
yeah,
having the offer, I think that's something that is a very important aspect. Kind of like, and not just any offer. You have to have the right offer, just like you said with the
right.
oil changes, like offering a free, like who wants it? Who wants when? I could care less. The only time I get my engine inspected is when I have a little light on, right?
Yeah, right,
And
right,
that's most
right.
of us. So I really do see that correlation and making sure you have an offer that is going to entice people to pick up the phone. And then that's why you do different marketing campaigns with it, because you're going to find that some direct mailers may be hotter than others. They may like this, particular advertisement, and you don't necessarily have to do the same dollars off or percentages off. You can change it up a little bit, but have something that makes sense, that goes with whatever product or service you're offering.
Absolutely. I mean, and knowing the consumer data drives what the offer can be. You can do a different offer for every household if that's what you want to do. There's customers that we have that, they're home improvement. So they're doing windows and doors, and market A, they're offering offer A, right? And in market B, it is offer B. And even within those markets, right? There are certain households that may be a customer already. Geez, this customer bought windows, 15 years ago. So we're going to send them an offer for a little stronger of an offer for the windows, or a little stronger an offer for doors, because they're an existing customer and they've been lapsed and we want to bring them back. And I think that when you do that and you start testing that mentality, the success rate goes through the roof when done right. But if you're sending the same offer, and the offer does not have to break the bank, an offer just meaning a call to action, it could be, hey, just call us. If you call us, we're going to, if you're a home improvement business and you know that in the market that you're in, the biggest challenge is just getting somebody out to your house just to measure and talk to you about windows and doors. Maybe your offer is just, hey, call us now. We'll be there within 72 hours. Making that up. But, it doesn't have to be monetary. It's just whatever that is that really rings true for, what you're going after.
Oh, yeah, like the 24-hour plumber.
It's a great stick, isn't it?
It is. It really is, because there'll be times when you're going to need that 24-hour plumber. You're going to pay for it, but you're going to need it.
Absolutely. It's there. Do you remember Pizza Hut when they used to do they come over to your, I don't think they do it now, but there's not many Pizza Huts left, but they'd come over to your table at lunchtime and they turn over a timer, and they give you 10 minutes. I think it was 10 minutes. They said, hey, if your pizza's not ready in 10 minutes, your personal pan pizza, it's free. But everybody didn't know is those personal pan pizzas were carefully constructed prior, and all they had to do was go under about a 3-minute oven to be heated and crisped up. And they never fell behind that 10-minute offer because they were prepared. But it worked. It was great to get people in the door.
I loved Pizza Hut when I was a kid. They had the little video game places right there. You walked in. It was, it was like a restaurant. It was not a pizza place, right? You didn't order delivery for Pizza Hut. You went to Pizza Hut when I was a kid. It was a place to go to.
That's one of the only products. Think about this. That's one of the only products out there, and I can't think of any others. One of the only products in the marketplace ever that is cheaper now than it was 30 years ago.
Interesting.
And yeah, the quality of ingredients. I mean, it's not, it's again a whole other podcast probably, but the cheese that all used to be real, and there was no shortcuts. A large pizza was $25 when I was a kid. $25. I remember it. And people now are like, I need to pay $10 or I need to pay 50, so it's that shtick. Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for you before I'm going to dive in a little bit about you, but I have one other question that it's not any of the questions that we were discussing, but did you hear about laws changing in marketing in January? That a lot of these companies that are outsourcing marketing, for example, I can't remember the name. It used to be Service Magic. I forget who bought them out now, but where you'd sign up with the company and then all of a sudden you get like 1,000 companies onto you. Did you hear that law is changing now to where these companies are not going to be allowed to do that?
There is something coming up. They generally do that in January at the turn of the year. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, but I do know that January is the time.
Yeah, one of my buddies was telling me about it, and it's going in effect in January. The benefit is now you're not going to get blasted. These marketing companies are going to lose out big time on money because now they can't take revenue from every individual company. Now they can only pick one company to send your information to. Versus when you put your information in, they would send it out to, let's say you're interested in a kitchen and you got 10 different kitchen vendors they send it out to. Now they can only send it out to one vendor.
Wow, that is a big change. So like an Angie's List, you're going to only go to one person.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that the one thing about consumer privacy is that, and these laws, consumers, the laws are on their side, and it's probably for a good reason, but yeah. Same thing with loans. So if you go to the loan, I need a loan, and you're getting 15 calls, or I need auto insurance, you're getting 15 calls. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, I think consumers right now, they want options, but they also don't want to have to deal with 40 calls. So
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me, but it's going to be a disadvantage. So we'll have to see how that shakes out.
That's also for anybody in sales out there. I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if you're in the home or selling anything else. Most people don't want to sit through multiple pitches. They don't want to sit through multiple. The only people that want to sit through multiple pitches are buyers. Okay, and if you're dealing with a buyer of a company, you're not selling them right then and there anyway. Good luck. You're going to be there for multiple visits. But most of the population, when you're pitching to a business owner or pitching to a consumer or residential, no matter what, they just want to get it done. As long as you give them a good reason on why they should move forward with you and move forward now, they'll probably get it done if they believe you.
That's a very good point, Jesse. I mean, absolutely. And it's the same in marketing. We deal with that a lot. Where, hey, I'm fielding calls. I want to see what your prices are, but at the end of the day, it's like nobody has time to sit through, a couple pitches, 2, 3 pitches. And I like what you're saying though, because that's even more reason to get it right the first time, right? Use the right data in your world, home improvement, knowing what that home is, when it was built, how long they've lived there, you can wrap all of that up in your conversation when you're talking to them. And it's not only beneficial and will make the conversation better, but the likelihood of closing is just, that much better.
Amen. So I'm going to flip it up to you, Chris, because I've met and spent time with Chris, many adventures with him, but you all do not have the ability to see and be in front of him. And he is a ball of energy and positive attitude. He always has a smile on his face. It's pretty damn infectious. And I would have loved to know if you could share how you maintain that kind of mindset and that attitude, because you're married and you have 2 kids, okay? So you got to have challenging days as well. So what do you do to keep that kind of, every time I've ever texted or called or talked to you, dude, you're always like on like cloud 11. It's amazing, bro. So could you share what you do to keep your energy and positive attitude going?
Yo, man, you're the same way though. So I mean,
Thank
thank you. Yeah, I mean that. I mean that. Thank you. And share yours with me. I'll tell you, mine, what I do is there's a lot of coffee in the morning.
I just finished the cup.
Uh, yeah, I'm having one right now. You know what? I think, I mean, quite honestly, you have everyone has down days, right? So it's, you can get negative. I can get negative just like anybody else. There are times where I'm faking it because I'm not saying I'm faking it now or with you or anything, but if there's times where I'm like, holy cow,
Yes.
this election went on and this guy took money from me and my car tire and all this jazz. Yeah. Have your moment, man. I always call it my moment of clarity. Like there's a moment, everybody has the right to be sad, mad, angry. Good. Have it. Do it, digest it, and get over it. Pull your big girl pants up and move on. And if you can't be positive, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But if you can't be, fake it. And I'm dead serious, like, because nothing breeds positivity than positivity. If you're faking it, and I'll give you a good example. Like when, there's times I'm in a conference, and I've been there, 4 or 5, 6 days. I was just on the road for 2 weeks. And on that last day, I was dragging butt, man. No matter what I did. And I was talking to people. I didn't want to be in Las Vegas. I was at a Las Vegas conference. It was 20,000 people. It was day 3. Didn't want to be there. And I was literally shaking hands with a fake smile on my face at 9 a.m. And by noon, I'm like, I'm actually having a great time. I go, what the hell happened? And I'm like, wait a minute, that's right. I took my own advice. I faked it. So rather than exuding negativity, which drives other people down, I always try to exude positivity and then, try to change the factors around me and then it'll bring me around.
Energy is powerful. Have you ever noticed, Chris, how any room you go into, other people end up coming into that same room or restaurant or place you go to?
Yeah,
Yeah,
happens a lot.
it's your energy, bro. I'm telling you, I see it happen with me as well. And
You do. Yeah, you have great energy too, man.
I love it. I love that fact that you said fake it till you make it, because I'm a big, 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 huge believer, because there's many times I've walked up to the door screaming, fighting, yelling with my wife. Love you, honey. Sorry. And 2 seconds later, I hang that phone up and I knock on the door, and you'd never know I was in a fight or anything. It was game
Funny?
time. I'll give you a great example. Disney does it really well when they train their people. They could have the worst day in the world, but when they're in front of a client or somebody there for Disney, it's showtime. And they are smiling and this, that, and the other. Because I can assure you, those people have bad days too, but they're always smiling as well. And you have to fake it. And if you're a sports fan, Muhammad Ali.
That's right.
He is one of the big people that would tell you, fake it so you make it. And his belief system, that really was infectious for me and led me to that too.
Yeah. Oh, Hunter, I love that. That's a great example you just gave, that Muhammad Ali. And, because people will tell you, oh my gosh, yeah, of course, if you do all the right things, if you eat right and you get enough sleep I mean, I go to the gym now. I'm not a big gym rat by any means, but I started going back. Okay, that helps. I get it. But you're still going to have days where you're like, man, I do not want to knock on that door. I just kind of fight my wife. I am not knocking on that door, but it's game time. I got to fake it. And in more instances than one, it usually turns around instantly for me. Um, but
You
everybody's
forget
dealing
you're
with stuff.
faking it.
You forget you're faking
And
it.
now you're in the moment, right? And you get into what I call the zone, or you get into the flow. It's really that flow to where time stops. When you get into that flow with a person in a conversation, or even to a sales presentation, and time just stops. You're not even aware of time because you're so into that moment, and you kind of fake it to get yourself back into that moment and back into that frame of mind.
Love it, man. Yeah. I have a mentor, a guy, he was the CMO of Progressive Insurance. He's one of my best friends. He lives in town by me. He's retired from Progressive Insurance. He's one of the most positive people I ever met. I mean, ever. Um, and we had this conversation before. It was, geez, you're not always going to feel positive, but when you are faking it till you make it and you're influencing those around you, you actually are creating positivity around you, which will then bring you back up. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's negativity is just too easy to fall into. And the thing about negativity also is it's an addictive drug, isn't it? I
It
mean, it's
is. I mean,
easy.
it's fun to complain. That's the first thing.
Absolutely.
That's why they say do a great job. They may tell one person. Do a shitty job. They're
Mhm.
going to tell the world. Not 10 people,
That's
the world. Now,
that's
especially
why I
the
was, yep,
world.
yep. And everyone's got a megaphone with that, phone in their pocket. So bad experiences are going on blast on Instagram, Facebook, and text message instantly. A good experience, not so much. So yeah, I mean, yeah, just negativity, and it is, man. You can thrive on that, and so yeah, and I like you, I'm humbled by my better half, my wife, and my kids. They will tell me if I'm ever acting any negative in any negative way. So I try to not be that way. But man, I love your energy too, and maybe that's probably why we click so well.
I think it is. I think it is. And I've been in my life where I was really in a bad place and negative. I'll share with you.
Sure.
I got fired one time in my life. I got fired from working for Bath Fitter.
Mm,
It was back in Ohio, down in Columbus, Ohio. I was working for Aaron and Larry at the time, and those were the sons of Marty, and we had helped build this area here. And things had happened. I had ended up stepping down from leadership into sales. Was in sales and was a bad mindset. I mean, I was in a shitty place, and I ended up getting fired from there. It's the only job I ever got fired from. Never forget, walked in, Larry let me go, and couldn't believe it. Was so upset because I had put my blood, sweat, and tears. I bleed Bath Fitter. I mean, I loved that company, and I was a part of helping it grow. And I was very upset for several years. And it took me 2+ years to realize that it had nothing to do with Bath Fitter and had everything to do with myself. And it was all on me. And that was one of my turning points for me in growth and leadership and evolving is humbling myself to understand that, wow, that was all you. Thank God they fired me. Thank God they got rid of me because I wasn't doing anything to help the betterment of that company or the people around it who were my friends. All I was doing was talking that negative talk, right? Complaining about things, which wasn't helping me or anybody I was talking with either. So it was the best thing that could have happened to me. And unfortunately, it took me a long time to realize that it was me doing it. It was my attitude and my energy and how I was approaching it. And I think if people in general in life, whether you're in sales or business or whatever you do, if you can get over that and get over yourself and your own ego, and that was tough for me to do because I have a big ego. I still have a big ego. I think I'm the best salesperson, the best this, best that. But I'm also humble enough to know that I can learn something every single day. I used to tell new sales reps that would come in, I'm going to learn from you just as much as you learn from me because you're going to teach me new tricks or new ways to do things or say things that I've never heard of before. And I'm going
right.
to teach you everything that I know. And that's what I live my life by now is just being that humble person and knowing that my mindset and how I approach things and staying positive. That the negativity part is, I think, something that is not talked about enough, and it's very easy to get negative. Even myself, even on a daily life, even talking with my wife, it's easy to get negative. Um,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and and being in business, whether it's working in home improvement or working in a marketing company, you have employees, you have bosses, you have customers. There's going to be people who you don't jive with. There's going to be people you don't like that don't like you, who are, they get away with something at work, and you're like, well, why did they get away with that? Why can't I get away with that? Or I got a bad review, but this same person got a better review, and my performance is better. Whatever the situation, those factors are going to be there. They're there no matter what. And getting sucked into those, that's the challenging part. Is like not letting yourself get sucked in and faking it until you make it, and then really just turn. I listen, man. I've turned down positivity, almost to where it was almost like pandering, where it's like, hey, is he being real or not? Well, I just don't want to be negative, and it's that energy. So I love this topic. I think you're right, Jesse. I think you hit something when you said it's not being talked about. I think negativity in general is something that to overcome it it should be. I practice it. I practice it.
And
I
be
think it should
willing
be.
to tell your friends. I think that's something that
Yeah.
as friends, as fellow salespeople, and as fellow comrades or coworkers, we'll jump on the bandwagon because it's easier and better, right? So you're talking shit and I'm talking shit. Yeah, this lead, that
Right.
lead, that direct
Right.
mail lead, Chris. I tell you.
Right. Right. Right.
But seriously, you have that conversation, and you need to be that person and go have that positive attitude and go, no, time out. Look, we talk about things. Let's talk positive, how we could have sold that or what we could have done differently, versus being negative with things. Um,
And you never know what's going on in people's lives. I mean, I love what you just said there. Like, it was a bad lead. Well, okay, don't be negative about it, but also at the same time, you may not know what's going on in people. We're all working together. We don't know what's going on in people's lives. Somebody's, best friend could have just gotten shot, or their mom just was diagnosed with cancer, and it's been weighing on them. And everybody's walking around with something on their mind or some sort of
and you just
ailment.
got there.
Right, right.
So
And so anyways, but yeah, that's the way to treat the world like you want to be treated. And I think that's a great kind of motto to live by.
love it. How do you balance? So you talked a little bit about your kids and your wife. So a
Mhm.
lot of people have this problem, especially when they're addicted to work, like you and me. How do you balance it? How do you balance your personal and professional life? Because that's the other part that I think is missed for a successful, thriving business. Because you can be all the success, and the whole idea of going to business is take care of your family and this, that, and the other, and then you're getting a divorce or this, that, and the other because you're not balancing your life out. And I've watched it happen with friends and coworkers. How do you balance it out? You've been married for a while. You have a beautiful family. What do you do to balance that, sir?
Yeah, yeah, man. So I've been married. I got married in '07, so it's coming up on 18 years here. We have an almost 19-year-old son, so you do the math. We were married. We had him first, and we have a big gap. We have a 9-year-old daughter, so we have a 19-year-old and a 9-year-old. Um, and I can tell you, I married the right partner, and she'll tell you that I'm her right partner. Okay, that's great. But there's a couple things I've always done, and I don't know if it was on purpose or if I just hard drew a line in the sand. I don't know what, but I never, or I try. I shouldn't say never. That would be a lie. But 99.9% of the time, I do not bring any conversations into the conversations with him. I no work conversation, and that's my rule of myself. And now it's not easy for everybody. I get it. So you're working all day and you come home and you do want to vent. But for me, I don't like to vent to my family about work because it's not fair to them. They don't know the situation. There's no, there's nothing, there's no gain for them, right? They're not going to gain any sort of thing.
It's almost like being
So
negative, right?
yeah, exactly. It's the same thing about being like, I'm venting to them, and here I am venting, thinking I'm talking, and then here's my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, going, "Gosh, Dad being negative about his job. Should I be worried?" So I've always tried to not do that. And
This
then
is
just
huge,
as
by the
far,
way. This is huge what you're talking about right now, with especially people that have little kids like this, because they are very influenced by this, and you don't realize what you're doing because they listen to everything.
everything. I mean, my son that's 19 now, almost 19. He, at a young age, same thing. Again, I won't say never, but I tried never to bring that home. And and time is a big deal. Time, people trade their time for their work, and I get it. I'm addicted to my job. But your family, your business or your job or whatever you call work, whether you own a business or you work there, that's replaceable. That's replaceable. Your family is not replaceable, and your family is part of you. And if they're not, if you don't consider your family like that, your children, your wife, or whoever you consider family, then that's a whole different conversation. But if
That's
they're
like
like,
8 podcasts.
yeah,
That's a
right,
big
right,
one. But there are certain individuals like that. But a majority of us do this for family, right?
yeah, right, absolutely,
So spend the
and
time with them. And I'm gonna take some of your advice. I do bring that home sometimes, and I can see where my wife's like, everything gonna be okay, and everything's fine. It's just me talking and venting, right? And that's just huge. That's huge. Also, I'm gonna give a little one of my own tidbits is
yes,
make do it once a week. So I've had reps come to me and go, look, dude, I have no time. It's not that they don't have time; they just put so much energy into the sales, especially when they get started, that they get encompassed with it. So I said, all right, here's what you do: every Wednesday night, you take off. All right, you don't work Wednesday nights. That's your night. That's your date night. And here's what I want you to do. And I stole this part from my nephew, and Nate, thank you very much. And he wrote down with his girlfriend. He had written down on little. They were like little sticks, and he wrote down like the ones for not lollipops for the ice cream sticks, right? And he
oh
wrote
yeah, yeah,
down
yeah.
all different restaurants, and he had like 20 different restaurants that they haven't gone to that they want to go to, and they have it in a little cup. And every week they would pick one out. So I told my guy to do this, and every week they pick one out, and they go to a new restaurant every single week, every Wednesday night. So it's something
Love it.
fun, adventurous, and they get to pick something new out and try it. And
I love that.
it just so that's my recommendation for everybody to do to keep excitement in your life. Don't forget about your family. Don't forget about your loved ones, your spouse, your significant other, and your kids, obviously. And make sure they're a part of that because that's why you're doing this business in the first place. And for the managers and leadership out there, understand that the sales reps, that's why they do this for their family. So it's their income that you got to protect. And make sure you take care of them. One other thing, so we're going to finish up here real soon, but I have a couple things I would like to ask you based on your business here, because I love your business at your company, and when my company gets big enough, and we are going to absolutely be doing business with you. But if someone is considering using direct mail for the business,
Yeah,
what's the first step they should take? Is the first
yeah,
question we have, and then obviously how they can connect with you and
yeah.
resources or tools that you recommend for their business and starting this.
Yeah, I mean, for this purpose, I'll leave I'll pass along my name and all that, and I highly recommend anybody looking to just get in direct mail. Listen, if you've never done it and you just have questions, I mean, there are a plethora of online. The nice part is there are a plethora of online resources. But if you don't want to just go the generic route and start looking at online resources, I highly recommend connecting with somebody. Connecting with somebody who does sell direct mail, who is very knowledgeable about it, because it's not. I don't want to call it intimidating. I mean, it can be, but there's some things you should do first. Identifying, taking small baby steps as far as identifying what you want to put in market. What are your competitors doing? And to get that mindset sometimes is just it's like talking to a counselor. The counselor is going to give you ideas on how to better yourself. So talk to somebody. Um, for me personally, if they want to reach out to me, I love it. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. My name is Chris Slomka. You spell it Slomka. If you Google me or look me up on LinkedIn, you'll find my profile. Um, my company name is the Wylen Group, Wilen Group, and the website is Wylen Group, Wilen Group.com. And I encourage anybody to, shoot me a note on LinkedIn if you want, reach out to us on our website. But I think talking to somebody first and saying, "Hey, I've never done direct mail. Even if it's a small business, I love talking shop personally. So if someone says, I have a flower shop, I have a home improvement business that has, we're in one market, we have one location, and we service an area of, 50,000 people. We're not that big. That's all right. Direct mail can work for you. You service a town of 50,000 people and you're small. Okay, that's great. Well, how are you going to reach out and grow your business? How are you going to acquire more customers? You can still do that. So I think but talking first, talking to people that have done it or that are in it, just like anything else, I think will help.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to shout out Chris. Of all the individuals I've met and spoken with, not only is Chris honorable and willing just to share anything with you on how he can help you in your business for free, his company is 10 times better than that. I know individuals and owners that are using him currently, and their return on investment is amazing. And they have, when I say they have dialed it in, they have dialed it in. So if you're a home improvement person, reach out to Chris or find out about direct mail. It's real important. And then, Chris, I'd like to let you kind of leave last words for the business. Oh, I got a question for you before that.
Yeah.
What is do you have a favorite quote?
Yeah. My favorite quote's a Jerry Rice quote. I quote this to my son, and I live by it. I try to live by it. But, and it goes like this: do what others won't do today so you can do what they can't do tomorrow.
Wow.
Do what others won't do today so you can do what they can't do tomorrow. And let me give you the example. And I'm not going to get on a soapbox here, but my son is 18, started a mobile auto detail business. He's phenomenal. He's just done things as far as putting a trailer together, buying tools, doing all that himself with no knowledge, just looking everything up on YouTube, right? He did the things that his peers won't do, right? So now he owns a truck. He has a trailer. He is doing things they don't know how to do. They can't do. And that can be said for any profession. Know your craft, get better at it, do what others won't do so tomorrow you can do what they can't.
We're going to end it with that because there's nothing better than that. That's beautiful. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you. And we'll definitely hook up again. I'd love to have you back on the show in the future.
Jesse, thank you for having me, man. You're a great guy, great individual. I wish you the best of luck, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Yeah, talk soon, brother. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.